Saturday morning was very quiet and full of bright sunlight. I woke up with a very strange feeling in my heart. Today was the day of my first date with Julian. He is a talented photographer I met at the library. I stood in front of my mirror for a long time. My brown eyes looked very excited and a little nervous. I chose a simple pink dress with small white flowers. I brushed my wavy brown hair until it looked perfect. I wanted everything to be special for this beautiful day. Julian sent me a short message on my phone earlier. "I will wait for you near the park fountain," he wrote. I put on my favorite shoes and grabbed a small bag. My apartment smelled like fresh coffee and sweet perfume. I took a deep breath to stay calm and happy. I am a teacher, so I usually feel very confident. But meeting Julian made me feel like a young student. I walked out of my house and saw the blue sky. The birds were singing a very happy song today morning. I walked toward the Central Park with a fast step. I thought about what we would talk about together. Julian loves art, and I love English classic literature. I hoped we would find many interesting things to discuss. The city felt very friendly and full of sweet magic. I saw many people with ice cream and colorful balloons. Every street corner looked like a scene from a movie. I checked my watch and realized I was exactly on time. The large park gates were open and very welcoming. I smelled the scent of roses from the garden nearby. My heart started to beat faster as I reached the center. I saw the tall stone fountain and the splashing water. Julian was already there, standing near the water. He looked very handsome in his light blue cotton shirt. He held a small bouquet of white daisies in his hand. When he saw me, his face became very bright. He walked to me with a very big and warm smile. "You look absolutely wonderful today, Alice," he said. He gave me the flowers, and they smelled like summer. I felt a little bit of a blush on my cheeks. This was the start of a very special Saturday. We were ready for our first adventure together. We started to walk along the green park paths. The white daisies were very soft in my hands. Julian told me about his new project with old cameras. I listened to his voice and felt very comfortable. We saw a group of children playing with a dog. The park was full of life and very happy energy. Julian stopped to look at a very old oak tree. He explained how the light creates shadows on the bark. I never thought about light in that specific way before. He sees beauty in every small detail of the world. We talked about my students and their funny English mistakes. He laughed and said children are the best models for photos. I felt that Julian was a very kind and patient man. We found a small path that led to a secret garden. There were hundreds of roses of every possible color. Red, yellow, white, and even deep purple flowers were there. I wanted to stay in that garden for a long time. Julian took his vintage camera out of his leather bag. It was a beautiful object made of metal and glass. He asked if he could take a photo of me there. I felt a bit shy, but I said yes with a smile. I stood near a bush of bright yellow summer roses. "Just look at the flowers and be yourself," Julian said. I heard the soft sound of the camera shutter. I wondered how I looked in his professional lens. He showed me the small screen on the back of the camera. The colors were very warm and the light was perfect. I looked happy and very peaceful in that photograph. We continued our walk toward the large city lake. The wind was playing with the hem of my pink dress. I felt like a character in a romantic Disney story. Julian asked me about my favorite English writers. I told him I love the stories of Jane Austen very much. He said he likes books with many descriptions of nature. It was very easy to talk to him about everything. We reached a wooden bench near the blue water. The lake was quiet and had some white ducks on it. We sat down and watched the water for a moment. The sun was very warm on our shoulders and faces. This afternoon was exactly what I dreamed about. The water in the lake was very clear and blue. A small boat moved slowly in the middle of the lake. Julian took a small bag of bread from his pocket. He gave some to me so we could feed the ducks. The birds came very close to us without any fear. One small duck was very brave and ate from my hand. I laughed because its beak felt very funny and ticklish. Julian watched me and smiled with his blue eyes. I felt a very strong connection between us at that time. We talked about our childhood memories and old houses. Julian grew up in a small town near the high mountains. I told him about my grandmother's garden in the village. It is interesting how stories bring people much closer. The sun started to change its position in the sky. The light became golden and very soft on the trees. Julian said this was the best time for taking pictures. He stood up and took a photo of the lake sunset. I looked at the sky and saw pink and orange colors. Nature is the best artist in the world, I thought. We decided to walk to the small cafe near the pier. I was a little bit hungry after our long park walk. The cafe was a small wooden building with many lights. We sat at a table outside to see the calm water. Julian ordered 2 cups of hot chocolate and some cake. The cake had fresh strawberries and white cream on top. It was the most delicious dessert I ever tasted. We shared the cake and talked about our future plans. Julian wants to travel to Italy to photograph old cities. I want to write a book for children to learn English. We encouraged each other to follow our big dreams. The air was getting a bit cooler as evening arrived. Julian gave me his jacket because I felt a little cold. It was very big for me and smelled like his cologne. I felt very safe and very protected in that moment. The stars started to appear in the darkening sky above. The moon was a thin silver line over the quiet lake. We finished our chocolate and felt very content. Julian looked at me and took my hand very gently. His hand was warm and his grip was very soft. I knew this date was something I would never forget. We left the cafe and walked back to the park entrance. The park was different now, full of evening shadows. The street lamps were orange and looked like small suns. Julian told me a funny story about his first camera. He dropped it in a bowl of soup when he was 5. I laughed so much that my eyes started to water. He is very good at making me feel happy and light. We passed the fountain again, but it was quiet now. The water looked like silver in the bright moonlight. I touched the white daisies in my bag to check them. They were still fresh and very beautiful in the dark. Julian stopped near a beautiful old stone bridge. "The light here is very romantic," he said softly. He took one last photo of the bridge and the moon. I felt that he was a very soul-sensitive person. We walked out of the park and into the city streets. The city was busy with people going to the cinema. But for me, the world was only about Julian and me. We reached the street where my small apartment is. I didn't want the evening to end so very quickly. We stopped near my front door and looked at each other. The light from the street lamp was very soft on his face. I gave him back his blue jacket and said thank you. "I had a wonderful time today, Alice," Julian said. He took a small piece of paper from his camera bag. It was a small, instant photograph he took in the garden. In the photo, I was smiling near the yellow roses. It looked like a memory from a very happy dream. "This is for you," to remember our first date," he said. I held the small photo and felt very, very special. I told him that I also had a great time with him. He asked if he could see me again next Sunday afternoon. I said yes immediately, without any hesitation at all. Julian leaned in and kissed my cheek very gently. I felt like 1,000 butterflies were flying in my stomach. He waved his hand and started to walk down the street. I watched him go until he disappeared around the corner. I opened my door and entered my quiet, warm home. My cat greeted me, but I was still in the park. My heart was full of the golden light of the date. I put the white daisies in a glass of fresh water. They looked very pretty on my small kitchen table. I looked at the photograph Julian gave me again. I looked very happy and my eyes were very bright. This was the best gift I received in a long time. I went to my bedroom and changed into my pajamas. I sat on my bed and thought about every single detail. I remembered the ducks, the cake, and the stone fountain. Julian is a very special man with a very kind heart. I took out my diary to write about my Saturday. I wrote about the yellow roses and the silver moon. These memories are very precious and very important. I felt very lucky to meet someone so interesting. My life as a teacher is good, but this was different. It was like a door opened to a new, colorful world. I checked my phone and saw a message from Julian. "Sleep well, Alice. I am thinking about our next date." I smiled and sent him a heart emoji and a good night. I put my phone away and turned off the small lamp. The room was dark, but I felt the warmth of the day. I closed my eyes and saw the blue lake and the pier. I fell asleep very quickly with a smile on my face. My dreams were full of cameras and white flowers. I woke up on Sunday morning feeling very refreshed. The daisies were still there, smelling very sweet. I made some tea and looked out of the window. The city was waking up, but I felt very peaceful. I had a whole week of work before next Sunday. But I knew the time would pass very quickly for me. I started to prepare my lessons for the school week. My students would see a very happy teacher on Monday. Love and friendship give us a lot of positive energy. I felt ready for any challenges at my English school. Julian's photo was now on my desk near my books. Every time I looked at it, I felt a spark of joy. Life is a journey full of beautiful surprises. A simple date in the park changed my whole week. I am Alice, and I am a very happy young woman. The flowers in the photo are my small treasures. I look forward to the future with a lot of hope. Monday to Friday passed like a very fast train. I taught my classes with a lot of passion and smiles. My students asked why I was so happy every day. I told them that the spring weather was very beautiful. Julian and I sent many messages to each other. He sent me photos of the sunrise and the city birds. I sent him funny quotes from my English textbooks. We learned many things about each other's daily lives. Finally, Saturday arrived, and I prepared for Sunday. I chose a different dress, this time a light blue one. I wanted to look fresh and beautiful for our meeting. The daisies were still alive, but a little bit dry now. I decided to keep them in my book of poetry forever. Julian called me on Sunday morning to confirm the time. We decided to visit a small art gallery in the center. I love paintings, and he loves everything about art. I walked to the gallery and saw Julian near the door. He was wearing a brown jacket and looked very smart. He saw me and his eyes sparkled with genuine joy. "I missed you this week, Alice," he said very softly. I felt the same way, but I was a bit shy to say it. We entered the gallery and saw many beautiful pictures. We talked about colors, emotions, and different styles. It was another perfect day full of deep conversations. Later, we walked through a small market with old books. Julian found a book of photography from the last century. I found a small book of English poems for my class. We felt like we were building our own small world. The sun was setting again, painting the city in gold. We sat in a small park and ate some green apples. Julian took another photo of me, laughing at a joke. I felt so natural and so very happy around him. He is my photographer, my friend, and my special person. Our story started with a lost phone, but it grew fast. I realized that some things happen for a good reason. I am thankful for every moment we spend together. Sunday evening was warm and full of big promises. We walked home holding hands under the bright stars. My name is Alice, and this is my story of love. Every day is a new photo in the album of life.
Write one English word in comments. 5 people get 10 English lessons free.